Hello and welcome back to Building a Nation with UMF Selfoss in the country of Iceland here on Football Manager 2023, and we are at the end of Season 6, I believe this is. I might be talking a lot of rubbish, I think it's Season 6. So we have once again won 4 trophies, as you can see here on the screen. It is pretty straightforward as usual at the moment in the domestic competitions, but we're going to talk about our European adventures, new signings, leaving players, which, there's one big one, it's very annoying, and we'll quickly talk about how the save's getting on. So let's get right into the new arrivals right now. So as ever, I would just always ask that if you have been enjoying the save so far, please do drop a like on the video and hit that subscribe button as well. This is the last video I'm recording during the beta phase of the game, because this is the time I've now actually got to go to work more often now, so we're going to have less time to do things. So soon I will actually be a bit more up to date. I think 3 episodes have come out so far, is 0, 1 and 2. The support's been amazing so far, and to this point, this is November 6th I'm recording this. You won't be seeing this until late mid-December. Thanks so much for the support so far, and it's been great. I'm having a great time playing the save. You guys seem to be enjoying watching it, so it's excellent to know. But you knew about Baldur Gudmundsson coming in from Thor, the 20-year-old right back who joined the club the previous window, and he's developing into a decent little player. We did loan him out to KR for the season. He played 16 times for them, which is good development for him. I don't know if he's quite going to be the guy for us going forward, but like in the multi-save and generally with a Building a Nation save, you want to be able to bring guys in, even if the sole purpose is to flip them out later on that year, which is what we did with Magnus Volleson from Lyngby, £675,000 for the international Danish under 20 player. He's a pretty decent left winger. Good physicals. The mentals are going to get there hopefully, and the technicals are, they're average, but he's 19. There's room to grow. He was out on loan at Valor for the season. He didn't have a great season with them, but they also got relegated, I believe. So, but he could be a guy for us. We might put him out on loan again this season, depending on what we end up doing in the window. And then the other player we brought in was Emmanuel Torres from Tijuana for £23,500. He had a pretty solid season all around for us. 5 goals in the league. Just a good option along the whole front of the pitch, basically. He can play up front, he can play on the wings. He's only 18, already an under 20 for Mexico. He is someone who I think could be a pretty good addition for us in the long run. On the outs, we let Harry Gordon go. He has still not signed for anyone. He went to Fjolnir, that was on loan from us. He's not signed for anyone yet. He'll probably end up retiring, I'm assuming, because that's what usually happens on this game. Pozan Keshi we knew was going away as well. We let Valdemir Daddy Severson go to Grotta. He's not had a great time there. We let Thor Jonsson go to Al Weda for £200,000. So this one, Al Weda seemed to bid for about 6 of our players in the same transfer window, and I feel like Thor Jonsson was the one I was most comfortable letting leave. He's a good player, 22, 11 under 21 caps. He's a decent enough player. He wasn't going to be the guy. So we got £200,000 for him. We made a profit from him. We bought him from FH, and he's had a half decent season in Saudi Arabia. But the big sell in the season was Oliver Saab to Union Magdalene for only £130,000. His contract was running out, and he was complaining. We've taken a massive loss on him, nearly £600,000. But he was going to leave free, so we just got rid while we could. A good player, but he didn't want to be here anymore, so we let him go. On the loans outs, we did let some of our younger players go out as well for the season, and there was also a couple other transfers in, I believe, but we'll talk about them when we get to that stage. So as you can see in the league, we did win the league again. We did lose a game near the end of the season to Breidablik, who didn't actually qualify for Europe this year, but overall it was pretty straightforward. 3 draws, 1 defeat, 18 wins, 35 goal difference, a dominant campaign from us. Stjarnan and Fjolnir pulling away from the rest of the pack as well to hopefully get some decent games in Europe. We did win the Icelandic League Cup again. We also won the Icelandic Champions Cup, and we won the Icelandic Cup. All pretty straightforward, routine cup wins at this point. So let's talk about our Champions League campaign, which so close. Again, we're struggling to overcome this third qualifying round hurdle. So we beat Budoknost again. We beat Valmiera, who we'll remember from the Latvia save last season. We 10-1 in aggregate, so that's, Valmiera are probably sick of me at this point. And then we drew 3-3 at home with Rangers before falling 1-0 at Ibrox. Bitterly disappointing, because we probably could have beat Hammarby and qualified for the Champions League proper, but it is what it is. We fell into the Europa League, where we did beat Dundalk in the playoff round, and we've so far played quite a few games in the group stage. Now, as you can see, 5 games played, 4 wins. We beat Gothenburg, we beat Dnipro, we did lose 2-1 to Roma, but we played well. We beat Genk, and we've beat Lask as well. So we are currently in a good position to qualify in the group stages. I think this will fall apart when you look at our remaining games, but hopefully we can fall into that playoff round, which is actually what we did last year. We'll quickly talk about it and I'll show you it as proper. So we beat Sarajevo, or Zvezda. We drew 2-2 with Leo. We did lose to Lyon, but we did beat Dynamo Kiev to qualify for the playoff round of the Europa League. But we did lose over 2 legs to Sporting, which isn't a disgrace. So, it's good experience for us. We made a bit of money, and this season we're doing quite a bit of good business in the Europa League, which I'm really happy about. Club reputation is unfortunately still just 2.5 star. Hopefully this will be the season that gets us to 3 star with our competitions in our wins in Europe this year. We've made 7.65 million in competition prize money. Everything is on the up, which is always what we want to see on this page. We want all green arrows pointing up. Beautiful. So we actually had just recently played our last game, which was the game against Lask, where we did win 1-0, a very comfortable win as well. Despite the fact it took until the 94th minute to score, we were never really in any danger of losing that game. But if I show you the Europa League from last year, we'll quickly talk about what we did. So as you can see, we finished 15th in the group overall, 5 points off the automatic qualifications, and then we did fall to, when I get to the right stage, then we got the knockout playoff round. We did fall to Sporting, which I think this is basically just the extra round before the round of 16. All of it stupid, really. Finances, we've got 5 million in the bank, we've got 1 million to spend, and we're so far looking quite good on all of the financial fronts. In the dev centre, the youth candidates, it was a rubbish youth intake. It's already disappeared, but nobody good came through, so you're not missing out on anyone, to be honest. In the club info, we are now a legend at the club. It has taken this long to get there, but we are finally there. Manager man is a legend at Selfoss, 37 years old now, which that's a horrifying thought to think of in a few years' time. Our attributes are continuing to grow, but we're not still able to do any coaching courses yet, which is extremely annoying because we have more to do to get all of these numbers up to help our training. The club vision, as usual, is broken because it is. I mean, they're like B+, B-. Like, I don't know what I need to do at the start of a season for you guys to be happy with me. Surely that should transfer over year on year, you would think. This game is dumb. Scouting wise, I've had a bit of annoying with scouting again because I've basically just set one recruitment focus for 15 to 18 year olds and sent every single scout on it, but they all go to the same part of the world at the same time. The scouting on this game is awful. I don't really want to have to spend hours of my life fixing it every single season, but I might have to just try and find the best players possible. Is Darren Watt guy, is he any good? He's not bad. He could be a guy for us, but we're already focusing on that position of the pitch too much because, as you can see, in terms of the transfers in, that was the 3 here. But if we look at what we've got coming in, we've got a bit of business already on the go. So on the outs, we have Georgi Dikev is leaving to go to Pirin Biogevgrad. Those guys, he's leaving. He's not really developed into the player that we hoped. So yeah, good servant. Thanks Dikev, but you're gone now. To bolster our centre back position, because that's the biggest hurdle I think for us this season, we are bringing in Sigurd Berger Ake Jöransson from Stjarnan for £130,000, a 24-year-old Icelandic international, just a good, solid centre-back. He's Icelandic as well, so he helps with the homegrown and all of those criteria. He's also just probably our best centre-back already. Malik Mbai is also joining, and I kind of regret doing this transfer if I'm being honest. So he's 24-year-old Senegalese from Generation Foot, a tremendous goal-scoring record for them, but he can play on either side. He's good. I mean, lots of yellow on the screen here with one little bit of green. All the numbers are quite high. He's a good player. I kind of regret it now because we signed this guy really early, and I think we've done better business. And that better business is basically raiding Breidablik's winging options. So we're bringing in 18-year-old Ellert Inge Konradsen from them, a left midfielder. Pretty good player overall. The physicals are tremendous for the pace especially. The mentals aren't too bad in the key areas, and these technicals are okay as well. He's someone who I think with a lot of game time could become a very good player. And on that note, this guy, Hordur Arnason, a right midfielder. Look at this guy. He's 17. 13 under 21 caps already for Iceland. He's brilliant already. I love him. We wanted to send this guy about 5 times, and he finally handed in a transfer request, and we snapped him up for £60,000. and he's going to be a starting player for us most likely next season. He's great. I love this signing. But as I mentioned, we are going to focus on the centre-backs and full-backs this season, because ignore all this is just post-game. But Rasic has been tremendous for us this year, as is Torres, Martinez as well. But the back four is not the strongest area of the pitch, especially with some players leaving. One of the players who did leave, actually, who we will mention, this was the sad one unfortunately, was, when I found him, Petter Magnusson. So we'll let some players go. I probably should show the screen, because some of the players you remember, like we've let Ruan go on a free transfer, and Hardarsson's gone as well. Hopefully he's wanted by someone in the top flight. Yeah, he'll be fine. But Petter Magnusson, we signed this guy 2 seasons ago for £18.75 thousand. He has been brilliant, and look at him, he's good. But he fell out with us because, I don't even remember, I feel like he wasn't playing initially, and they threw a huff and said he wanted to leave at the end of his contract, and then he just never wavered from that, despite the fact he played every week. We praised him constantly, we tried multiple times to get him to reconsider, and he just would never negotiate with us. The 22-year-old, now Icelandic international, is off to Sassuolo, which is where he is going. I would love to have brought him back, but Sassuolo's a decent gig for him, so he'll be alright. But if we look at the squad, if I can get to the right page, because I'm always on the wrong one. There we go. If we pull it by position, as you can see, we've still had the same goalkeepers. Nicholas Martvel Kikosos has been a rock. We can, again, I keep saying this every year, we can improve on him. This might be the season, but we just don't have a lot of money to really spend. In terms of goals, it was led by Emilio Martinez, 20 years old now, developing wonderfully. 14 goals in the league, top scorer in the league as well. Goals in the Europa League, 3 and 6. He has been a tremendous signing for us. Despite the fact the board moaned about him, he has had a great second season, and he's going to be the man going forward. Gudmundur Tyrfingsson trapped him with 20 goals this year. We've given him a new contract. We talked about letting him leave, but when he has a season like this, we can't really afford to let him go. So we've kept him around, new contract for another 3 seasons, because he can play in that midfield option, but we can play him as a striker if we absolutely have to as well. He's had a great time of it. Sigurd Jonsson has also had a pretty good season. 9 starts, 21 appearances at the bench with 9 goals. Not like prolific numbers, but the newly crowned Icelandic international, who's got 3 caps and 1 goal, has had a great role off the bench for us, and I think striker wise we're pretty set for the next year or two at least. Steinset as well with 8 goals this season. He's just a good player, isn't he? I mean, he's just Mr. Consistent, Christopher Steinset. In terms of assists, it was the Ivan Rasic show. He is unfortunately out for a few weeks now, but he is continuing to improve at an incredible rate, really. A 4-star player at the moment. He's got room to grow as well. His crossing is still weak, but everything else, he's fast, he's good at, like, his fitness is incredible, his balance, his stamina, his work rate, teamwork, technique. He is a joy to watch play football, and we'll hopefully keep him around for a couple more years to come. He's under contract for 4 years. After the Magnusson issue, we've basically tied all of our good players down for a long time. Usmani So has also had a really strong season. Again, no pace whatsoever, but he does play as the deep lying playmaker in that position there, so he's had a great time with it. Chips in with assists as well, 11 assists across the season. Pettersson as well. Our players are now starting to improve. We can probably make improvements on them, but I like Pettersson, so we're going to keep him around. Speaking of Rapid, we have Arnold Dreistad, who's had a great season for us too. 5 assists in the league. He's continuing to develop as a fullback too, so I mean, I'm really happy with that signing that we made for £200,000 from Molde. And yeah, like, the squad, I'm happy with it at the moment. Again, the right back needs improved. Parada, I like Parada, but I think left back maybe has to get improved. Centre back, we also need a couple of recruits, maybe one more after our signing from Stjarnan, but it's all been pretty much so far so good, really. We've got Iverson, who's coming through and developing nicely. We're going to get him back out on loan this season. He's only 17, he's got room to grow as well. So the squad's looking nice. Tactically, you've seen it on the previous screen, it's pretty much still the same idea, really. You can have a look at it if you want. You can pause the video to see what we're currently playing. There are no player instructions, so nothing is hiding away from you. And lastly, if we look at the competition reputation, 51st overall is where the Icelandic Premier Division is now, up from 60th. Our exploits in Europe are continuing to help the league grow. We've also gained a Europa League qualifying spot in the league now as well. So we've got 4 teams qualifying from the Icelandic Premier Division. Hopefully our wins in the Europa League will propel us into the 40s, like maybe ideally around League 1 level in the Dutch 2nd Division, I believe that is. so we can hopefully start to keep rising up and going up the list. Coefficient wise, we are up to 116th, so we are having a brilliant time of it. The rest of the clubs, not really, but if you have a look, we are continuing to grow and becoming, hopefully next season, one of the 100 top ranked teams in Europe, which would be lovely. That, however, is pretty much it for this episode of the Building a Nation Save. We will be back next Friday with another one with the end of, I think it's season 7. I should probably look at these things beforehand, but I don't bother. But we will be back then for that. Tarfinkson, by the way, as I just noticed, an icon, so that's beautiful to see. Hopefully he'll join us in the Legends category soon. But we're having a great time in it so far. My playing time will be drastically reduced going forward, so eventually I will sort of catch up to when the videos are coming up. I appreciate there's like 4 more episodes to come out before this one does, but hopefully you're enjoying the save. And again, leave any comments if you've got anything to say. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. That's going to do it for today's episode of Building a Nation in Iceland. We'll be back next Friday, 1 PM, for the next season where we'll win more trophies. That's going to be the plan. But hopefully I'll be talking about some Europa League knockout round action as well. So thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.